alcohol in India is a very, very, very complex category.
That is why the prices of such drinks are different in different states. How is rum made?
Alcohol at the end of the day एक lifestyle है.
How would you advise alcohol space में alcohol beverage launch करना है? What would be the step 0 to launch?
The main goal is liquid to lips.
Foreign natives are actually moving here to do business. What do you think is happening right now?
The opportunities here is what was there like 15-20 years ago when I was in the US.
In Shark Tank, you had mentioned that you're not the first in the space, right? And therefore market है, market develop हो रहा है. But क्या कर रहे हो? आपकी क्या strategy?
Of course, इसमें I can help you. मैं आपको 20 lakhs for 1% and 30 lakhs मैं as debt offer करती हूँ.
Great, Vineeta, deal done.
Awesome. You had her at Sugarcane.
Welcome Lalit to the India Man podcast show.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So let's jump right into your journey up until Rock Paper Rum. Just talk to us a little bit about कि कैसे यहाँ तक की journey थी, क्या था आपके history में, क्या आपने क्या शुरू किया था, क्या experience किया था, which gave you some motivation or inspiration to pursue an entrepreneurship business like this.
Sure. तो मैं मुंबई से हूँ, born and raised here. मैं US गया when I was 15, so after my 10th. तो यहाँ 10th के बाद US में for 11th, 12th, फिर college भी वहीं किया. Worked went to NYU for college, studied business. Moved back to India after college. Worked with my dad. और उनके पास वो time liquor का ही business था. तो हमारे पास distilleries थी and वही family legacy था जो मैं we can talk about it later also, but it was so worked with him for 3 years. तो वो time जहाँ हम जो factory हम लोग देख रहे थे वो हमने वो time बेचा. तो then I was thinking what to do next, so went back to the US for my MBA. Went to Wharton, graduated 2011, and then spent the next 9 years even after that in the US. तो मैंने I've done everything from management consulting. खुद का एक business भी launch किया था. It was called Bandar Foods. वो actually मेरा पहला entrepreneurial journey वहाँ से actually शुरू हुआ.
Right.
तो वो एक food business था, Indian inspired snacks or sauces made from India, selling it in the US.
Wow, when was this? Which year?
So वो actually एक school project था in my MBA. It started but we launched it in 2011.
2011, you launched a product in US which was inspired by the Indian subcontinent.
Yes, so it was actually inspired by जो हम लोग chutneys और अचार खाते हैं यहाँ पे. It was
right.
Chutneys and अचार in a much more user-friendly format. तो squeeze bottles में था. तो वो time we were one of the first squeezable chutneys. तो वो time actually Sriracha का craze चल रहा था. Sriracha, the hot sauce, was just becoming big in the US. So we wanted to be the Indian version of Sriracha. तो वहाँ से वो idea आया, and of course we are used to eating pickles and chutneys. And my co-founder there was actually an American. So he, when I took him to a Indian store, उसने देखा कि यार पूरा एक shelf ही भरा पड़ा है for Indian sauces, pickles, chutneys. But वो बोला यार ये चटनी खाते कैसे हैं, तो हाथ से खाते हैं, क्या लेते हैं, चम्मच से. तो मैंने बोला ये तो ऐसे नहीं खाते हैं, बट अमेरिकन्स को वो स्क्वीज़ बॉटल का आदत है, फ्रॉम केचअप्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. तो हमने बोला यार ये चटनी हम लोग स्क्वीज़ बॉटल में मेक इट हेल्थियर, मेक इट यूज़र फ्रेंडली. तो वहीं से इंस्पायर होके टू ब्रिंग इंडियन फूड टू द अमेरिकन मेन स्ट्रीम ऑडियंस. सो दैट वाज द गोल देयर. तो वो मैंने approximately 7 साल किया वो business before moving on from that, and then went back into corporate world, or more back to jobs, and worked for a couple startups there, which eventually brought me back to India in 2020, right before COVID. तो मैं उसी company के साथ India आया. We were opening up an office. It was a sustainable packaging business. Manufacturing compostable packaging products. So I was heading up sales for Europe and Asia. So India में आके, and then COVID आ गया, and then I was figuring out.
Then you were stuck here.
Yeah. Which I loved being back. So I'm glad that decision happened, and wouldn't have had it any other way.
Right. So you said you launched this chutney business in US, right? And फिर आपने उसको 7 साल चलाया. So what happened with the business, and what were the because eventually then you moved to a corporate job. So what happened there, and what was your learning?
तो learnings तो बहुत ही थे. I mean, so it started off as a small business side hustle. Job के साथ side hustle किया. That time, unfortunately, that time जो online business to sell food, that wasn't an online business. अभी तो सब online भी हो गया, but that time there was no online selling of food, so it was all offline. So our main first big win was when we got into Whole Foods, which is like one of the largest natural foods retail stores in the country and one of the most well-known ones. So we got in there nationally in our first couple years only. So that gave us more confidence. Yaar, isme to, there could be something to be made here. So went into it full time. We at our peak, we started with 2 sauces, a mango pickle in a chutney format, and then a green chutney. Then we had 5 different sauces like tamarind. We had sweet mango, like chunda, the Gujarati sweet mango chutney. So we had all of that. Indian ketchup, Bombay ketchup, spicy ketchup, we launched kiya tha. Then we went on to actually launching snacks as well. So we launched naan chips, so instead of pita chips, but made from naan, again Indian inspired. Papad we launched kiya, ready to eat in a bag. So again, sauces, chakna, all of that was being made in India, sold in the US. So we were learning that. We were selling in about 5,000 stores across the US, from Walmart, Target, Safeway, Sam's Club, Whole Foods. तो काफ़ी मतलब distribution काफ़ी बड़ा बनाया. But at the same time, I think one thing जो हमें realize हुआ कि this is a very niche market. It's not अभी तक Indian food mainstream इतना mainstream नहीं हुआ है US में. तो एंड वो टाइम तक हमने ऑलरेडी थोड़ा वेंचर कैपिटल फंडिंग भी उठाया था, तो वो स्केल नहीं दिख रहा था. तो इवेंचुअली इफ़ यू आर टेकिंग venture money, or when you decide to take venture money, you also have to make sure that you're going after something really, really large or really, really fast growing, right? And we realized that if you're going the funding route, eventually after 7 years, the market is still not mature. So हमने काफ़ी trial and error किए, tried to pivot. But eventually, after all those changes, eventually we had to, close the business and move on from that.
Got it. So you moved on, and then you circled back to India, coincidentally, right, during COVID.
Right.
And then after that, you ventured into entrepreneurship again.
Yes.
जो आपका ये brand है, Rock Paper Rum.
Yes.
Right. Now, this is a complicated category. Like beverage by default is a complicated category. So what, apart from the experience that you had, कुछ और factors थे which kind of motivated you to pursue this and not something which is slightly more safer as a goal in the market?
Yeah, so coming into Alcobev was, there are multiple parts to it. So when I moved back, I'd already started seeing the trends and changes and growth in this whole craft liquor market. जो consumers were asking for newer products, better quality products, made in India products. And वो सेम ट्रेंड्स हमने यूएस में भी देखा था अराउंड 5-7 years ago. तो जो यहाँ पे जिन्स का रेवोल्यूशन आया, विस्की भी हो रहा था, बियर भी हो रहा था. सो दैट ट्रेंड एंड ग्रोथ वाज इमेंस एंड इट वाज अ ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी फ्रॉम दैट स्टैंड पॉइंट. The other reason for liquor was also my family, as I mentioned, is from the liquor background. So my Dada and Dadaji and Dad both had started a liquor business and they'd been in the business for last 50 years or so. So it was 5 decades of generational knowledge and know-how. Wow. Everything from manufacturing to distribution. Eventually, now they're completely retired, so there's not much. They don't have any involvement in the liquor business, but I thought this would be a great way to bring that family legacy back, right? So the whole know-how be here. So how do you combine that? But of course, alcohol in India is a very, very, very complex category. It's one of the hardest industries to be in. And in fact, someone told me if you figure out how to run a business in this category in India, everything else is very easy.
It's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Right. How is rum made?
So rum is, there are multiple ways to make rum, and you can use different ingredients. So rum is typically some form of, you'll have some form of sugarcane in rum. So you'll either distill the molasses, which is a waste product of the sugar manufacturing process. Right. You can have from sugarcane juice, you can make alcohol. So eventually, that is, anything to do with that is typically where rum comes from. So you can mix and get various blends of that. Of course, in India, only now we are seeing aged rums and all of that. But typically, you would then store it in barrels. That would be like your traditional form of rum. But of course, today you have blended rums, which are distills of various raw materials that come out of it. So that's your that's what rum is made from.
Alright, तो एक thought experiment करते हैं, right? You are running incredible brand right now, right? And behind you आपके पीछे 60 years का experience हो गया अब समझ लो, right? Starting from your family business. तो how would you probably advise one of our listeners कि अगर किसी के mind में ambition भी है कि alcobev space में alcohol beverage launch करना है future में जाके, right? Yeah. What would be the step 0 to a few sort of like launch? क्या direction होगा किसी के लिए?
So alcohol is a complex category, especially when it comes also from a licensing perspective, etc. The first would be, my advice for someone who's coming from out of the industry would actually be to maybe find a mentor or someone to talk to that you can understand the nuances of जो industry में कैसे क्या चल रहा है, how to get it done. वो होना एक ज़रूरी है. It's not an easy industry to get into. लेकिन it also doesn't mean it's impossible, but a lot of startups जो अभी दूसरे brands भी आ रहे हैं, they are not necessarily from the industry, but to get that understanding is really important, right? It's not it can't be a side hustle. It's not a low capital industry.
Right. कितना capital लगता है किसी को अगर शुरू करना हो ऐसा कुछ business?
So I think to build a brand, to start off, you need to have a vision of at least having 15 to 20 crores worth of capital over 2-3 years, but and not necessarily from day one, but आपको पता होना चाहिए कि बस like next 3 साल में मेरे को कहाँ ना कहाँ से minimum setup करने के लिए to get some form of scale and brand building, minimum 15 to 20 crores is a point. You need to have the vision कि हाँ मेरे को ये लाना ही पड़ेगा. Of course, people have raised much more money and you need much more money, but even to know if a brand is going to do well, you need to be in the market for 3 years.
मतलब market को अगर test करना है properly and you want to figure out कि ये चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है, you need that capital and you need like a runway कि 3-4 साल चलाने के बाद ही you can conclude whether this is working out or not.
So and that I would say that there's a 3-year timeline in my mind that सिर्फ 3 साल के बाद आपको पता पड़ेगा कि will a brand actually have potential? So you have to get through the first 3 years. Of course, you can spend less and do less, but minimum आपको 3 साल market में you have to survive. And I think that 3-year number, honestly, given my experience because we were building a food brand in the US, right? So उसमें भी it wasn't like only 3 years in did we know कि does this have potential or not? तब तक the first couple years is सब trial and error ही है. It takes time to find your target consumer. Why are they buying your product? What are they liking about it? And you need enough sort of sale and push and out there to get that feedback also. Itna, we don't have money to spend on proper research reports, etc. वो तो हम start करते हैं. But there's वो एक difference है when you're starting your first business and your second business, where first business everything is like the world is open, right? And you can achieve anything, which you need to have that in any entrepreneurship journey. But in the second business, you're a little bit more cautious. So you learn to ask the right questions. You don't dismiss feedback. Feedback can be bad or good, but I'll prove them wrong. ऐसे नहीं है. You listen to it. So yeah, there's a lot of nuances there.
Right. In Shark Tank, you said that year one of business goes into like building the foundation.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? कि ये licensing, contracting और deposits show में आपने बताया था. तो ये होता क्या है और किसी को क्या आता है road map में एक business को launch करने के लिए in this space?
So in this space, you need to. There's the foundation is across, right? From getting the product made to building the team, building the branding, packaging, story around it. Then, of course, the initial operations, getting it out into distribution, repeat orders, manufacturing your product multiple times, quality control. So those are all, foundation is across the board, right? So in this industry, I mean, everything from getting the right blend of the product recipe, you have to work with a master blender.
Right.
Typically, you can work with them on a project basis as well, but that also takes time and of course money. When it comes to contracting and licensing, especially with the licensing policies here, you have to register your brand with various authorities across India. And in this case, in alcohol, is every state is its own different rules and regulations. So you have to register in each state independently, and of course each state's rules and prices differ completely. So that's one.
That is why the prices of such drinks are different in different states.
Yes, the taxation structure is different in different states too. So that's what makes a big difference as well.
Right.
इसमें contracting or manufacturing के लिए भी once you have typically if you don't have your own distillery, which we don't, we also use a contract manufacturer. Of course, there you have to pay deposits. It's like renting an apartment, or renting an office. So you have to have that deposit there, and of course, your minimum monthly charges, get started. And usually, you don't make enough product to meet those MOQs. So it's just a cost, like your rental that you pay. So you have that. Then of course, buying raw material, right? So raw material also is not, the MOQs are not low. So glass bottles, for example, one of the things we did in this was we actually created our own mold and, for our packaging, our glass bottle, right? So again, there were already available bottles in the market, but सब लोग वही bottle use कर रहे हैं. And at the end of the day, this is only an offline play. So if you are seeing it on a shelf, and if you see all round bottles but one different bottle, maybe your eyes go to that one different bottle that stands out.
Very interesting. Like the same exact insight was also spoken by Jovita, from the founder of Bartisans.
Right.
कि वो different लगना चाहिए, unique होना चाहिए, and therefore you have to invest in certain areas.
Yeah. So that is a big investment, and then getting the number of glass bottles, you have to make 50,000, 1 lakh bottles at a time. So utna inventory to रखना ही पड़ेगा from day one. So that is another cost, and of course hiring a team along with it. Yeah, this business is not a one-person show hustle. You need salespeople. You need salespeople on the ground. You need marketing, of course, operations, all of that. So it requires a infrastructure. It's
So
not,
क्योंकि ये offline business है, तभी
Yes.
team में ज़्यादा
Yeah.
intensive investment करना पड़ता है, team set करनी पड़ती है.
Yes, so that is a big part of building that. So it requires all that. That's what I mean by foundation.
Got it. Understood. Let's talk about the brand. Like I really, really love the brand name. It's very interesting, right? I think it grabs an attention, and it has this modern 2024 vibe, I suppose, right? So how did you come up with this, and क्या journey थी branding के बारे में सोचने की, brand name के बारे में सोचने की, क्या किया आपने? As an entrepreneur, how did you crack this?
So we spent a lot of time on the branding. In fact, we were ready to launch this product 9 months before we actually launched it. But we realized that we need to get our branding and story and everything right. So we went back to the drawing board and restarted the process. So
This is happening when?
this is 2022. So Jan 22, we went back to the drawing board and then eventually launched in October 2022. So branding and packaging is such a crucial part to not only this industry, but any other branding or consumer products industry where you're creating. And you get one shot. You have to make sure you give it your best shot the first time you go out, because it's not easy to get those second chances when you launch a product. This is something I learned from my previous business as well. First time we launched a sauce, we had just made, we made a product, we got someone to design a quick label, छाप लिया, डाल दिया, देखेंगे क्या होता है. And then 1 year later, it was doing well, but it's like, अरे यार, shelf पे अच्छा नहीं दिख रहा है, we have to change the whole packaging. So we have to invest in that, and then again you go out in the market, getting the products changed, etc. So it just requires so might as well put all that investment, time and effort and money upfront. So in this case, we decided to do that.
Did you work with an agency or something?
Yeah, we worked with an agency called First Base, who has been incredible throughout this journey. He's still a great friend and mentor and an investor in this business too. After the whole project was done, we became good friends. But yeah, so Rock Paper Rum is based on the game Rock Paper Scissors.
Yes,
It's
of
a
course.
game about taking a chance, and that's what वही ethos हमें रखना था for this brand, because that's what we feel represents new India today, and that India of 2024, where we're all ready to take that chance today. So we wanted to keep it simple, something that 2024 can relate to today, because some of the older brands have become cult brands, but that opportunity to become the new cult brand of the new generation still exists today, and that's where the opportunity came from. So kept it simple, but a much more deeper story and element, which of course reflects in multiple parts of our packaging, etc.
Do you think the rock paper rum part is inhibiting? मतलब इसमें आगे चल के और चैलेंज आ सकती है ब्रांड नेम में, कि आपने सोचा ही, ऑब्वियसली सोचा ही होगा, डिस्कशन तो किए ही होंगे कि रम रखे कि नहीं रखे नाम के अंदर.
So it can be, but at the end of the day, so for instance, today, right, we are launching. तो इसमें काफ़ी in alcohol surrogate advertising होता है. But again, वही मैं बोलता हूँ, if we are doing the same thing that everyone and every other brand is doing, it'll be very difficult to win, because all other brands, big brands, have more money to spend, etc. तो हमें कुछ अलग ही करना है in marketing, and even when it comes to surrogate. So one of the products we're just about to launch, probably in the next week, 10 days in April, is actually Rock Paper Coffee. So I know we've launched a coffee rum, but we're also launching.
So that is not an.
So it's not a rum. So we have a coffee rum, Rock Paper Rum का एक coffee roast coffee करके we've launched. We've already launched it this month, जो हमने show में भी बोला था. But we are, as a surrogate, we are also launching Rock Paper Coffee, which is actually coffee that we can drink during the, so दिन के लिए coffee, रात के लिए rum, right? So again, marketing के लिए कुछ अलग. We can now even give coffee as surrogates. It can be present. The label is very similar, so you can sort of relate to that. And again, it goes with what is trending in India today. So coffee being such a large market, but again, we're trying to be different in our marketing. So Rock Paper can go with anything.
Yes, ये मतलब आपने अभी मार्केटिंग के ऊपर टच किया, यही मेरा नेक्स्ट सेगमेंट था. आई वांटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि अल्कोहल कैटेगरी के अंदर, लाइक सिगरेट्स एज वेल, यू कैन नॉट रियली रन एड्स. आप इंटरनेट पे समझ लो, गूगल पे या फिर फेसबुक पे ऐड नहीं चला सकते हो. तो क्या स्ट्रैटेजी होती है किसी ब्रांड की, एंड एज अ मॉडर्न ब्रांड आप क्या सोच रहे हो? लाइक यू हैव दिस इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोडक्ट ड्रिवन स्ट्रैटेजी, और क्या चैलेंजेस आते हैं, और फिर ब्रांड को सोचना क्या चाहिए इस डायरेक्शन के अंदर?
तो इसमें मोस्ट ऑफ द मार्केटिंग ऑफलाइन ही होता है, सैम्पलिंग्स एंड प्रमोशंस. तो फर्स्ट 2 years में the main goal, what we call in the alcohol industry, is liquid to lips. जितने भी लोगों को try करवा सकते हो product, that is where the main marketing and spend should go. Key people should try it, because at the end of the day, if product is good, the product will speak for itself, and that's when the repeat orders will come, which is super important. So first couple years is what we call liquid to lips is the goal. Of course, to do that, you have to do things offline, samplings, promotions, जो events होते हैं like Little Flea, etc. Participate in that wherever people can try the product. Of course, then comes the surrogate and being different. So one of the overall overarching idea we are working on is we're calling it the world of rock paper. So world of rock paper rum.
If you can define surrogate for the audience, कि surrogate marketing होता क्या है?
Surrogate होता है कि you are using a similar brand name, but with another product that you can actually advertise. तो आपने देखा होगा कि Bacardi CDs, music CDs बिकते थी. You can see, you'll see soda and water. McDowell's का soda है, McDowell's का पानी है. Bacardi has a mojito. So you're taking non-alcoholic products, but using a similar brand name around it, and then of course trying to get that out there through different channels. So again, brand recollection will go hand in hand. So you're using not alcohol but other surrogate products. So one of the things we're trying to do, again, alcohol at the end of the day एक lifestyle है. So you have to build a lifestyle brand around it. तो वही हम लोग एक concept बना रहे हैं called the world of rock paper rum, जहाँ पे different types of what we use in our daily life, from merchandise, cool t-shirts, cool hats, cool t-shirts, to rock paper coffee, something like that. हम लोग even games में जा रहे हैं. Again, all about taking a chance, right? So trying to do things differently, because अगर हम लोग सोडा और पानी ही करें तो then we are like the big brands and we don't have that kind of. So what can relate with the younger audience? So you have to think
Out of the
differently.
box,
there.
कुछ अलग
Yeah,
सोचना
अलग
पड़ेगा.
सोचना ही पड़ेगा, otherwise it's a losing battle.
Right. In Shark Tank, you had mentioned that you're not the first in the space, right? And therefore, market develop हो रहा है, right? So, what are you currently doing, and how is Rock Paper Rum trying to compete, and stay different? Can you tell us a little bit about that? कि क्या different है, क्या different कर रहे हो, so that you can also compete, because competition is good, right? But क्या कर रहे हो? आपकी क्या strategy है?
Sure. So the one good thing एक जो rum की market है, it's already a very large market. So the good thing about this category is it's not a category creation. It's already created. Now it's about how to get people to upgrade their drinking into more premium, better quality products जो हमें मिलते थी पहले. Right? Didn't have many options. So of course, few startups have also come in this category. So we aren't the first, we won't be the last when it comes to that craft liquor in the rum market. But of course there are old, big, large brands that are incumbents, जो हमें, that are big players that we will be up against. So first of all, I mean, how to be different, right? Starting with the product, we use great quality ingredients. We are flavor forward. हम लोग काफ़ी varieties अभी देते हैं. We have 5 flavors. You have zesty lemon, spiced rum, Indian spiced. You have coastal white, we have tropical coconut, and then roast coffee, rum भी अभी launch किया. तो we are giving वो जो varieties and flavor trending जो trend है अभी of flavors in alcohol, especially that the new consumers are enjoying. So again, providing that experience to them. जो cocktail culture जो बढ़ रहा है आज के दिन में, these flavors again go in that cocktail culture. So going with those trends, which a lot of the older brands are, not all of them are up to date, and they are sticking with their old same strategy. So this is again how to get people to try the product. Our pricing is also very well priced. It's a premium rum, but at a great price point. In Bombay, about 1,500. So again, it's in and about some of the, I would call it mass premium. It's not super premium, but it's still premium. But at least it's an upgrade from that. So it's a very easy, user-friendly price point as well. So that has been a big success for us, and that's what's helpful again for people to try the product. So from the product and pricing standpoint, that's how we tried to be different in the market. And then of course marketing, जो मैंने बोला, how to be different, things like different merchandise, coffee, etc., and just think differently there.
Right, wonderful. So you said you have spent 11 years in US, right? तो बहुत लंबा time होता है, right? And now you've come back to India and you're building this brand here, right? And you said कि you're glad that you're back, right? You're loving the vibe and the growth and the new India.
Sure.
So what do you think is happening right now? Abhi, I think a political person had also recently stated that 2024 onwards there will be a lot of reverse brand and काफी सारे लोग वापस आ रहे हैं.
Right.
And काफी सारे लोग आने के बाद businesses start कर रहे हैं, which is really good for the country.
Yeah.
So what do you think is happening? What do you think is propelling this, और क्या चल रहा है from your POV?
So, personally, for me, when I moved, जब मैं वापस India आया, I had both personal and professional reasons. So the good thing was I'd spent 18 years overall पढ़ाई. If you add my studies also, it was almost 18 years in the US. So I had spent, coming back and being here with my parents was amazing. So I checked the box of like family, right? So the 3 things I look for, there's family, friends, and then of course work, right? Professional. And if those, so what were those are the 3 boxes if I'm thinking as a consultant where I have to check, right? So family got checked with like being with my parents. I underestimated what it's like to be close to family. Friends, I'm still great friends with वो जो school के friends होते हैं ना, that you grow up with from KG to 10th standard. वो अभी भी that group is still very active, and of course in COVID we were we got to hang out even more घर पे. And then finally work was amazing. Coming back to India, luckily I came back with the same US business that I was working for. So that allowed me to sort of get into India without that culture shock. But again, setting up distribution in India for that company was I got to see the challenges, but of course with the backing of working for a US company, right? So I got that opportunity, and once I saw that excitement, wo jo hustle, dhanda, etc., that happens here on the ground was superb. So for me, all those 3 boxes were checked. That's why I know that India, this is it. Like I love that. No matter what happens, we'll figure out. But it have to be here only. I think for everyone else also, that reverse brain drain that we're talking about, the opportunities here is what was there like 15, 20 years ago when I was in the US. Starting a business has become, is much easier now than it was 20 years ago. Things are, that the processes are easier. At least the know-how has become easier. I think entrepreneurial, the whole being a business person, an entrepreneur, has the respect has gone up thanks to shows like Shark Tank. So I think uske wajah se that upliftment has been there, and everyone now wants to start a business, do something on their own. So that has helped sort of create that environment. Of course, funding is become very, the whole is starting to mature in India, from venture capital to private equity, angel investors. वो जो ecosystem बन गया, that's become like super vibrant and mature, and that is also helping people come back to help build their businesses. And then of course even large corporates, India is going global, so corporates here are also growing. So whether you want to come back to start your own business or still work at a large company or corporate, opportunities are endless, and I think for the next 10 years.
Right. एक interesting change मैंने अभी देखा है recently. A lot of foreign natives are actually moving here to do business.
Yeah.
Right. That is something. Right. I don't think that ऐसा पहले होता था 4-5 साल पहले. Right. अभी गुजरात में काफ़ी inward movement है.
Right.
Bangalore में there are some people, right, who have moved here and they're doing a business here because उनको लगता है ये market better है.
तो that also, so हमने वो थोड़ा देखा था with China as well, but I think India is still a much more welcoming market for inbound. So not only for Indians but also non-Indian people, and of course and to make in India and also sell outside India is a huge opportunity. The brain power here in India is immense. The cost of manufacturing production is potentially still very competitive, or can be competitive. So, and this whole supply chain diversification that you're seeing across India too. So all that across the world. So China plus one strategy jo kar rahe hain companies. So that has become another big reason for people to come back to India, and I think opportunity is there. It's not limited to just Indians here, right?
Correct. Let's finally talk about Shark Tank a little bit, right? Generally, कोई भी अगर brand आता है, on Shark Tank, like so far I believe every brand, right, there is a tasting that happens. So Rock Paper Rum की क्या behind the scenes tasting हुई थी, because on screen I don't think they can show that.
Yeah. So on screen नहीं थी, behind the scenes also जो tasting हो सकता है, limited amounts होता है, where you can actually smell the product, feel the product, touch the you can actually see the packaging. वो सब one can do to actually know if you're going to invest किसी भी product में invest, at least bottle the hold करोगे कि कैसा है packaging, feel, etc. So there was some of that behind the scenes.
Wonderful. And we all saw that at least शो तो कट होके आता है पूरा, बट आपने instantly almost without negotiating accept किया था deal. So why is that? Like, did you try to negotiate? Was it cut off, or did you not negotiate?
I got with what I wanted when I went in, and it was part of the larger fundraising round that was happening. So it was not a difficult change. I knew they would negotiate in the tank, which is why I went in with a higher valuation. Again, that's what I said on TV, right? Actually, one of my close friends told me those lines, which I said on the show, right? Negotiation is your birthright. So I knew they would negotiate, and we know what happens in the Shark tank. So I already had my cutoff, and there was that wiggle room was already limited. Of course, this ये जो show and our shooting was almost 1+ hours. Right. तो वो it gets cut to like 13-14 minutes. So there's a it almost seems like हाँ यार जल्दी हाँ ही बोल दिया, but there was conversation in between that as well. हाँ.
Got it. Amazing. Lalit, so final part of the conversation, rapid fire.
Sure.
Right, some interesting questions for you. 3 cocktails that can be made better with Rock Paper Rum.
Daiquiri, mojito, and a new rum Negroni.
Wow, amazing. Is Rock Paper Rum available in Goa yet?
Yes, we launched in Goa in February of this year, last month.
Wow,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Is it possible to order this online?
No,
Not yet.
unfortunately.
Right. I think we'll have to wait for that.
Yeah.
Right. Outside the rum category, what are you really excited about in the Indian beverage space?
I think the creativity that we're seeing, creativity, since it's rapid fire, but I can go into explanation as to why, yeah.
Got it. And the final one, which could be interesting, which brand would you like to see on our podcast from the liquor space next, and what would you like to ask them?
So one of the I would go with Greater Than Gin.
One of my favorites.
And I haven't met the founders yet, but जो उन्होंने एक brand and जो cult बोलते हैं ना behind a brand, especially in this industry जो बनाना है, they were one of the first ones. So what was their thinking on their marketing strategy on creating that community behind Greater Than? So I think I would love to learn more about that thinking and how they went about building that.
Wonderful. I'll send over the link once they are on the show.
Great.
Right. It was great having you, Lalit.
No,
thank you so
thank
much
you
for
so
your
much.
time.
Yeah.
And all the best for the Rock Paper Rum journey.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.